peace to all who have joined us here on the Crozier website for this presentation. I am Father Jude Verley, a member of the Crozier community of Phoenix. And it is my hope, the hope of the Croziers, that periodically on the website we will have a presentation on some topic that might be of interest to you or inform you. It could be a topic on Crozier religious life, on a feast day, on a special event. Today I'd like to speak to you about Lent. But before I do so, I want to say that this video is being taped in our Priory Church. And behind me are two significant elements of our church. First of all, we have this cross, beautiful cross in Mexican Hispanic style, which came to us from St. Timothy's Church. And we wanted a cross in our Priory Church that represented the dominant culture that surrounds us, namely the Hispanic culture. And then below the cross is this unique tabernacle. This tabernacle was given to us by the Sisters of Mercy at St. Joseph's Hospital. The only thing they asked is that we pray for them. I was taught by the Sisters of Mercy, so indeed I pray for them all the time. But we are very grateful to the Sisters of Mercy and to St. Timothy Parish to have these elements in our Priory Church. And certainly they're symbolic of Crozier cross. In a sense, in the cross is salvation. And through the cross, Jesus brought new life, and certainly the sacramental life that we bring to the people of God in our own ministry. So now about Lent. The word Lent as a root meaning has the word spring or blossoming. That's what Lent is all about. It's the spring of the church. It's the blossoming of our lives in our relationship with God or the church, maybe our parish, with one another. There is a sense of coming to fulfillment as we go through these many days of Lent. So Lent is a preparation for Easter Sunday. Lent is a preparation in which we grow in our faith. So at the end of Lent, we might be more dynamic disciples of Jesus. The scriptures for Ash Wednesday sort of guide us in how we might spend Lent. And through the Gospel of Matthew, three things are proposed to us. So we have three invitations of what we might consider for Lent. First, prayer. Now, prayer is very diverse. For some people, prayer is very formal. So outside of the pandemic, many people would go to church more often during Lent, daily Mass as well as Sunday Mass. But we're in a pandemic and many of us are more closed in. That doesn't mean that we cannot expand our prayer life. Perhaps saying an extra rosary during the day, or a rosary, or novena, or just sitting quietly talking to God. My best definition of prayer that I've ever heard, I heard this years ago, is prayer is the conversation between two people who love one another. Think about that. prayer is the conversation between two people who love one another. Very different from the traditional definition of prayer, prayer lifting up our minds and hearts to God. In this new definition, it is grounded in love. So a married couple who are really from the heart conversing with one another, is that prayer? Two friends sharing life, is that prayer? Different forms of prayer that are presented to us. So maybe during this Lenten season, those of you who are married might want to spend more quality time in conversation. Or maybe you haven't been in contact with a friend for a number of years. And you say, I'm going to call up that person. I'm going to write that person a letter. You know, I find during this pandemic that old friends of mine, people I've known decades ago, but haven't been in contact with, are sort of coming out of the woodwork, coming to say, how are you? Let's get in touch again. Let's communicate. That's something to think about for yourself during Lent. The second suggestion has to do with fasting. Now, I know a number of you will say this is a great time for losing weight. That is not what it's about. I mean, you may lose weight. I can lose weight, believe me. But what should perhaps you and I give up in order to make our life better? Maybe we're eating too much. Maybe we should fast from some food. Maybe we're diabetic and that chocolate is tempting. But there's also fasting from some attitudes, selfishness, greed. How do we deal with those things? In my ministry with many people, they have old baggage that they've been carrying around for years. Maybe you need to fast from that old baggage. Put the past behind you and move into the future. Hey, it's not easy. I continue to have old baggage in my own life. But the church is calling us to fast and to give up things. So look at some of the negative things in your life, things that maybe hold you down, and try to do away with them. And lasting charity, reaching out in love, sharing what you have with others. We are all blessed, some monetarily, some with more gifts and talents than others have, but we're all blessed in some way. How do we share our blessings with others? How are we charitable people? Something to think about as you move through Lent. So those are some three ideas that come from the Gospel according to Matthew, which means it comes from the church, and perhaps it is God in and through Jesus Christ asking us to consider. So prayer, fasting, and sharing. To end this presentation, I'd like to bless you, and I would like to use a blessing that is found in the Hebrew Scriptures. God tells the priest Aaron to bless the people in this way. So the Jewish people, I leave you with that blessing for you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and grant you peace. Shalom, until next time.